Okay, so yeah, I just bought this ground beef chuck from Walmart about 30 minutes ago. As you can see, I like to buy something that's nice and red as well as nice and lean, 80 to 20 lean to fat ratio. Packaging, when you get it from the store, it's in the freezer already in this little plastic wrap with the little diaper on the bottom to absorb any of that, extra myoglobin and etc. Once you take it away from the store, if you're not going to cook it right away, definitely put it back in the freezer so it doesn't spoil. But like I said, we're cooking it right away. So after I brought it home, I just made sure my area was clean and sanitized, washed my hands, and began to unpack this ground beef chuck. When I unpackaged it, I just made sure, like I said, that my area was clean and made sure that my pan was clean, had a little bit of vegetable oil in it, and I just plopped it on in there. After doing that, now we're at this point in time, if you want to come a little closer, we're at a point in time where the majority of the ground beef chuck is nice and brown the way it should be, and not pink like this little tiny piece here if you want to zoom in on that. Because if it's going to be pink like that, you run the risk of developing E. coli. And if you eat on some E. coli, you don't want a risk of Jack in the Box back in 1993. Sad time. You don't want to end up like Miss Kiner. My condolences go out to her. E. coli, you suffer some pretty bad health impacts. One of them being liver damage. Some even being brain damage if it's serious enough. Nausea, vomiting, fatigue. Those are signs that you can experience, but not limited to just those. So as you see, I'm just chopping up the ground beef so the heat can get to all of it. I haven't put any seasoning on it or anything like that. I'm just making sure that it gets all brown, all the way brown. You can use ground beef chuck for tacos, you can use it for spaghetti, you can use it for beef wraps, you can use it for hamburger patties. It's so versatile, and that's why I love it, because it tastes so good as well. Bro, I should do a little commercial, not gonna lie. So as you can see, it's almost done. If you want to pop up really quick, it's nice and chopped up, nice and small, nice and brown. And you can see we're at a pretty high temperature. When you're cooking this, you want to keep it pretty high. This is on about 8.5 to 8 out of a 10 scale stove. So you can see it's cooked pretty fast. Took about maybe 7 to 10 minutes. 1 second. So, so we're almost done here. Actually, we're done. So I'm gonna come up here really quick. I'm gonna turn the stove off. Bring my ground beef chuck that has now created a little bit of oil. I'm gonna drain the oil so it keeps it as healthy as possible, as lean as possible. If you wanna follow me. Have my strainer. Pour the ground beef in the strainer. Shake up the strainer a little bit. Get all that excess grease and oil out. That's the thing with ground beef, it does produce a lot of oil, a lot of fat, and you don't want that if you're trying to stay healthy. This is a good source of protein here. Very good source of protein. Put all of it back in there. And then you just follow me back here. I'm gonna put it on the back stove, the back burner, as they say, just because it's not on. And voila, so there you have ground beef chuck. Like I said, very versatile product. After you're done using it, the best way to maintain the leftovers, how you're supposed to handle the leftovers, what I always do all the time. I know plenty of us have Tupperware containers in our drawers and our pantries and so on and so forth. I just grab one. Excuse me, just chop on the top for it. switch it up a little quick. I just grab one, open it up, pour it in, close it up, make sure it's closed completely and it's closed nice and tight so that there's no air or anything getting into it. And then you just bring it into the fridge. It doesn't really make sense to freeze it because you already cooked it, so you don't want to refreeze it. You definitely want to keep it at a cool temperature so that the ground beef chuck does not spoil. So as you can see, we're just going to bring this imaginary ground beef chuck that's in here, throw it in the fridge, like that. And then you should be able to use the ground beef chuck for the next, let's say like 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days is pretty typical. If you go any further, if you go outside of that range, may God be with you. Done.